Hi, my name is Gabriela Antequera, and I'm going to present Promoting Critical Literacy, Sociocultural View, and Multiliteracies in English Language Teaching. This is for the subject of EFL Literacy Development. I'm going to briefly give an introduction, share some key ideas of critical literacy, key ideas of sociocultural view on literacy, and also of multiliteracies. Then I'm going to present my pedagogical proposal in three sessions. So, critical literacy plays a crucial role in language teaching as it goes beyond surface level comprehension of texts and encourages learners to analyze and critique the underlying messages, power dynamics, and social implications within those texts. Integrating a social cultural view on literacy is essential because language is not only a cognitive tool, but also a social and cultural one. So this is what we're going to do, talk briefly throughout all the presentation. The key ideas of critical literacy, uh, the development of critical literacy skills allows learners to become active, discerning readers, and critical thinkers who can navigate the complexities of text and engage in meaningful discussions about social issues, representation, and equity. They are equipped to challenge dominant narratives, question assumptions, and develop their own informed perspectives. Critical literacy empowers individuals to become active participants in shaping a more just and inclusive society. The next slide is about the key ideas of sociocultural view on literacy. So, by adopting a sociocultural perspective, us educators can design instructional strategies that consider the social and cultural dimensions of literacy. So they can create, in this case, us, we can create learning environments that value diverse linguistic and diverse cultural backgrounds. That is very important. It also provides um, opportunities for meaningful literacy experiences and promote collaboration and dialogue among learners, among these students. The sociocultural um, perspective recognizes that literacy is situated within broader social and cultural context, and that understanding and respecting these contexts are crucial for effective literacy instruction. Now, the key ideas of multiliteracies. So, by adopting multiliteracies, individuals become adept at understanding and engaging with a wide range of texts and media. They can critically analyze and integrate messages conveyed through different modes of media, effectively communicate their own ideas and perspectives using various modalities, and adapt their communication strategies to different contexts and audiences. So, multi-artists prepare individuals for active participation in a digitally mediated and multimodal world, which is where we're living right now, and it creates an effective communication and meaning making require proficiency across the modes and media as well. So the integration and pedagogical proposal is divided by three sessions. The first one is named Introducing Critical Literacy Concepts. So the objective of this first session is to introduce critical literacy, the concepts, and make awareness of power relations in tests, right? So the activities are three mainly. The first one is to discuss samples with underlying messages, something that we want to make sure that they is not right in front of our faces. We want to make sure they think, right? So we present the students with various tests, different types of tests, just not only stories, but news articles, advertisements, excerpts from literature that contain implicit messages or biases. Then we guide the students in identifying these underlying messages and biases by analyzing language choices, perspectives, and possible intentions behind the test, right? So, by using different types of tests, we come across with different types of perspectives. The students will, of course, analyze these different types of intentions, which is the main objective of this first activity. The second one is analyze those articles, those advertisements, for hidden perspectives, right? So we talk about those tests having implicit messages. So now we're going to um, make them um, so that the students know what those implicit messages are, right? So they come to light. So we select a specific test that exemplify different perspectives. Some we can choose from the beginning, right? So that we can identify them. Then we engage the students in close reading and critical analysis of this test, focusing on identifying those perspectives, if there's any power relations, and if there are other alternate viewpoints. Those This activity is proposed to do it mainly individual, but it could also be in pairs. We want to make sure that we keep the group conversation discussion for the third activity, which includes debates on how the power relations are in the selected tests, right? So we divide the students into small groups and we assign each group a test to analyze, and then we encourage the student to engage in discussions, right, in debates about those power relations portrayed in the test. So this activity facilitates critical thinking, and we want to make sure that before this activity we provide the student with possible questions. What do you think of this perspective? What is your opinion on these theories? Just to make sure that they know where to go during the process of this activity, and make sure that we um, meet the objective, right? So yeah, this is the first session. The second one is named Integrating a Sociocultural View. The objective is to integrate a social cultural view by exploring learners' backgrounds and identities. So we briefly talked in the past session about implicit um, information, concepts, ideas. So now we're going to talk about the backgrounds, the identities, the sociocultural part of this activity. The first one is to encourage learners, in this case the students, to share their personal stories and experiences related to cultural identity. We want to make sure that we create a safe and inclusive classroom environment, right? So that they are safe enough to promote an open dialogue, make sure that they share their own ideas without any judgment from both their partners and also us as educators. We want to provide opportunities for them to share their personal stories related to the cultural language or identity, right? So, mainly, we want to make sure that there's respect, empathy among the students, active listening, which is very important, and validate their diverse perspectives. The second activity is to discuss the influence of culture and on language use and interpretation. So we facilitate discussions on how language is shaped by culture and how it influences communication, and interpretation. This is mainly made by the educator, the teacher, which is going to explain more how the language becomes part of this subject. And then the variation of communication styles. There's nonverbal cues and there's social linguistic norms, right? So at the end of this activity, we encourage the students to reflect on their own cultural backgrounds and how they impact their language use, right? And in this part, we can talk about their our native country, our customs, how those customs and how we were raised impacts how we talk, right? How we communicate, how uh, the social cultural part gets affected by our location mainly and our culture more specifically. And the third activity is engage in collaborative projects that promote cultural exchange and understanding. We want to create a collaborative projects. We want to make sure that all the students are getting involved with each other to learn from different cultural backgrounds, right? When working together, we assign the task that requires students to make research, present aspects of their own cultures. So this activity specifically is when we want to make sure that the creativity comes to mind and it's the main focus because we want to make this as dynamic as possible because we want to make sure that they also enjoy this aspect of the learning because they can wear the traditional costumes, the traditional clothes of their cultures. They can also present the food that they usually eat. So this is a very cultural exchange, and you get to understand more um, profoundly each culture by each presentation. So when it comes to the presentation at the end, we want to make sure that there's respect and active listening during all the presentations and discussions, to make sure that we promote cross cultural awareness. Finally, but not least, our third session and last, promoting multiliteracies through multimodal tests. Objective is to promote multiliteracies through the creation of multimodal tests. The activities are to explore digital tools, platforms for multimodal composition. We want to introduce different digital tools, platforms that are very common such as video editing software, podcasting platforms, website builders, especially the podcasting platforms, are very useful nowadays because there's a variety and a lot of different creators from different backgrounds and different cultures. So it's definitely something that they can look into and they can see the tutorials on how to use these tools effectively, right? By seeing others' example. And second activity is to encourage learners to combine different modes of expression. We want to assign a project where students create a multimodal test. In this case, when it comes to multimodal tests, it can be a video, a podcast, a website. So it's a topic of their choice, right? And then with the different modes of expression, visual, text, sound, they can convey their message effectively, right? Because they're using something that they like, so it also comes um, great for them. We guide the students in considering the rhetorical choices made into the multimodal test, such as font selection, image placement, audio effects, and to enhance meaning. So they can use different type of visual effects, right? When it comes to podcasts, they can invite other people to share their stories, their experiences. So this is something that can uh, make more dynamic their projects. When it comes to videos, they can show different images and so on. And finally, the third and final activity is to provide opportunities of sharing and discussing the created multimodal tests, right? We want to showcase an event where students can present their multimodal test to the class, if possible, a wider audience so that they can discuss about the design choices, how it is supposed to be intended on certain audiences, and how effective their work were, right? We want to encourage the student to provide constructive feedback to their peers, right? And so it fosters critical engagement and reflection. So, by integrating these three sessions, English language teachers can promote critical literacy. Will also incorporate a sociocultural way of view on literacy and a pedagogy of multiracies, right? This approach empowers students to become critical thinkers, active participants in society, and effective communicators across diverse contexts. So, as language teachers, it is crucial to cultivate an inclusive and empowering learning environment, right? That values students, diverse backgrounds, encourages critical engagement with tests, and promotes expressive creative expression through multiple modes of communication. By embracing this synergic combination of critical literacy, sociocultural perspective, and multiracies, educators can support students in developing the necessary skills and dispositions to thrive in a complex and interconnected world. Thanks for watching.